Hey guys, Pat here. Welcome to Box Office Addict. This is my Sunday live stream where I break down the weekend box office numbers, give you an idea of how the industry handles these things, the marketing costs, the budget, the profits that are going to be made from the international and domestic box office, just all sorts of things. But we also talk about movies here. We talk about movies we like, if we like that they're doing well, they're doing bad, why they did well and why they did bad. We try to break it down here because if you watch this show or listen to it, you're probably a box office addict yourself. And hey, I'm not here to be like an AA guy or something like that. I totally want you to embrace your addictions. So it's fine, don't worry. Uh, at least in the context of things like this. Don't get addicted to drugs, kids. Anyway, this is a very exciting weekend. So this is after... God, how many weekends has it been now that we've been doing this? I don't know if this is the third month or so of Box Office Addict. It's been going on a little while now, but I'm not sure. Oh, hey guys. Hey, is the audio fine? Just asking you guys in the... Let me pop the chat out. Hold on. I forgot to do that. Oh, boy. My bad. Hold on. I didn't do any intro music this time, but, can you guys hear can you guys hear my audio alright? I'm just doing, because there was a couple weeks the audio didn't work. Hello, Venom. And, sorry if my voice sounds a little rough. I was drinking last night, so I have a voice of a drinker. If any of you drink, you kind of know what happens. I was drinking, make a box office playlist. Yeah, that's a good idea. Someone was saying to me yesterday, they were talking about how they didn't watch the show because it was, poorly edited and it wasn't really it wasn't a good use of time, and I was like, well, hey, it's a live stream, it's not really it's not really a video. I'm thinking about maybe editing these around or something, but yeah, I went last night I came home with some food after doing a podcast with a buddy, and I got a 6-pack of Heineken, and I sat here and I drank that and I ate some food, and then I stayed up doing my Star Wars trailer reaction, and that basically was it. But I had to wake up today and drink a cup of coffee, and I just have my voice is really rough. So I'm not going to sound my best today. This is also going to be a shorter episode of Box Office Addict, not because of pressure or anything like that from people. Once again, every Sunday I don't always have the same schedule. I have stuff to do today, so I have to get this done now, because basically if I don't do this right now, I'd have to wait and do this episode later tonight, like at 9 or 10, and I don't know how that would work out, so I'm doing this one earlier, but it's going to be a shorter episode, so we're kind of going to just get to the point and jump in. There's going to be a lot less. It's going great, thank you for asking me. If you guys want to have some questions for later, make sure to put them in the chat now, and I'll come back and look at them after I try to knock some of this out, and maybe we can have a little fun here. But until then, I'm going to take a little break here. Do you think that Scarlett Johansson will no longer be the highest paid actress? I think Emma Stone's was the most profitable actress last year, wasn't she? I think Emma Stone's probably going to become the highest paid actress, in my opinion. Maybe you could split the long box office into smaller parts or add timestamps. Yeah, the timestamps would help. I agree. I'm just figuring it out, one show at a time. But this one's going to be shorter because I just don't have time. I'd love to do a long episode today, but... I have to go to the movies because I have to review movies for the channel, and I have to go to... And so I have to go see 2 movies today. I have to go watch one at the theater and then go watch another one with someone else to talk about it. Okay, let's just jump right into the weekend box office. Cars 3, same total, pretty much, $376 million, $175 million budget, high marketing costs, no doubt. It probably broke even at best. That's all about the merchandising. Once again, Pixar makes a needless film. It's just ridiculous. Like Incredibles 2, yes. Inside Out, yes. Cars 3, no. Please don't do that. Okay, Stronger's a film I thought was going to do well and hold well. I was completely wrong about that, like I am all the time. It keeps dropping, and it's not really connecting with people. But I think it might do well on home video or on cable. Who knows? Home Again. This is that Reese Witherspoon movie. It's finally kind of out at the box office. $12 million budget, 26 domestic. They probably put a lot of money into marketing somewhat compared to how low the budget was. I'm sure they spent more marketing it. But the end of the day, I doubt that made much money for anyone. Oh crap! Skipped over Mother. Dare not. Wow, it's still around. It made 125,000 this week, and that's hilarious. 17 million domestic. This film will not make 20 million, and 41 million worldwide on a $30 million budget, not counting marketing and all that, promotion and everything. Which I heard they actually spent quite a bit on this. So this was a waste of money from the studio's point of view. The investors are not getting that back. Probably not going to get any Oscar nominations. I'm thinking maybe one. Michelle Pfeiffer might get a nomination, but that's about it. So nothing to really talk about with Mother. It's a bomb. It's just a bomb, and Martin Scorsese's upset about it. Despicable Me 3, $1,026,000,000 on an $80 million budget. They could have spent $100 million promoting this. It's still going to clear hundreds of millions of dollars of profit for the studio. Illumination makes one of the most successful films, or more than usually a few every year. They have one or two films that are some of the most successful, usually the most profitable films of that year. And they have consistently been doing this. There probably will be Despicable Me 4, more Minions. I thought the stuff was kind of dying off, but the international box office is just so big on these things that this franchise isn't going anywhere like Ice Age. Ice Age always made money at the international box office. Except Despicable Me has a lot more of a following domestically than Ice Age did after a point. So that is something to talk about. God, nothing good here. 300,000. These all did terrible. Oh, The Florida Project. That's this very critically acclaimed movie with Willem Dafoe. That was made by an indie director. Made that film. I can't remember his name. I think it was called Tangerine. But this is apparently a great little movie with kids in it. I don't know. It sounds kind of like a Miyazaki film is the vibe I'm getting. But there was that film a few years ago. What was it called? It wasn't Beasts of No Nation was that movie on Netflix. But there was that other film. Something. Beasts of the Southern Land. Beasts of the Southern Wild, I think. That was kind of like a live-action Miyazaki film with that little girl, and she's traveling like it's like in New Orleans and stuff. I loved that movie. That movie came out years ago, and I saw it, and I thought it was like amazing, and nobody talks about it anymore. Beasts of the Southern Wild, and I remember like it was amazing, and it was all critically acclaimed, and it cost $1 million, and it got a bunch of Oscar noms, and then I don't hear about it at all anymore. And I thought maybe I remember it being really good. Like, man, this is great. Like it was one of my favorite films when it came out. So I'm gonna have to go back and revisit that and talk about it. It feels like it's kind of died off. American Assassin, big drop, 62%, 58 million worldwide on a $33 million budget. I doubt they have broke even yet. That film isn't really performing that well. I thought it was gonna do better than that. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. And the Wonder Women. My bad. Sorry, women. I don't know if this is about Wonder Woman stuff or... God, I think I saw the trailer to this. But 737,000 in 1,200 theaters is not very good. So I don't think that'll be sticking around. It's a wide release. Battle of the Sexes, 46% drop. Made 1.3 million this weekend. It's at 10.3 million. Not really that good. I don't know how much they spent on this, but this is definitely underperforming when you take in that Emma Stone and Steve Carell are in it, and they usually do pretty well, be it indie films or mainstream films. Their films usually perform pretty well. Flatliners, 62% drop, 24 million worldwide, only 15 million domestic. What a disaster. Like, bad reviews, doing bad at the box office. This is, I mean, really, it's just a bad thing for the cast, everyone, and it looked bad, but I thought maybe it'll be one of the surprisingly good movies, but that's not what happened. Marshall, $12 million budget, $3 million opening weekend. They might make their budget back. Oh, excuse me. But that's the best this will do, I think. I don't think this will do much better than that. It's not a very good opening week. It's not a terrible opening weekend. They did okay. They did better than the Wonder Woman movie. My Little Pony, the movie. 55% drop. That film is at $15 million domestic. This is actually performing a lot less than what I thought. Maybe if they released this a couple of years ago, when the My Little Pony craze was like huge, or like even 3 or 4 years ago. But Emily Blunt's in this, Jesus. But 26 mil worldwide. I don't know how much they spent, but it's an animated movie, so I'm sure it wasn't too cheap. But it didn't look like a super expensive, detailed animated movie. But they'll probably make all their money back on home video and playing this on television, don't get me wrong, but I just would have thought this would do better. I would have guessed like over 10 million opening. It just shows how niche that market is, how small the My Little Pony market actually is in the mainstream. It's just a vocal crowd of fans. They're very vocal about their love for it and buy a lot of stuff, which is what you need. You get loyal. The Lego Ninja movie, and now they're doing a Batman Ninja movie, which, like, why are you doing that after this performed so poorly? As they said, I've read this film cost 70 million and it's made 51 mil domestic and 96 mil worldwide. And the other two Lego movies both made over 300 million worldwide, with Lego Movie making over 450. So this is a bad performance. One for an animated film, that's one thing. Even more so for the Lego movies, because the other two films have done well. I think they shouldn't have released two Lego films in the same year. I think that was a big mistake. They should have just released Lego Batman and maybe saved this, but this looked like a home video movie. That's all I thought when I saw it. It looked like it was straight to video. It also didn't get the reviews of those films, but still, I would have guessed an opening weekend of like 30 million. 20 million wasn't good in 4,000 theaters for a movie like this, and it's really not doing that well. Domestically, this is kind of like a disaster. I don't know, marketing, whatever. It had to be, something had to be wrong. I didn't see the movie, so I might like it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but it is confusing. And my Kingsman theory from opening weekend definitely is confirmed now. I said the opening weekend was too low, and it really had to make a dent in that opening weekend, 50 to 55 million. And it should have, but the marketing was poor, and they didn't separate it enough from the first film. It really had no hook. And because of that opening weekend that really wasn't any better than the first film, this is performing far below the first film domestically. Now, not internationally, but domestically, it's at 89 million, and with this weekend, I mean, it's going to scratch to 100 million, but that's about it. The first Kingsman made 128 million, and adjusted for ticket price inflation, it's almost at 140 million. So this film isn't, for this big hype sequel that cost more, that cost 104 million, and the first film cost like 80 million. This isn't performing so well, but it is doing very well at the foreign box office. So far, it's made about 200 million, and it's at 286 million worldwide. So it's not a bomb. It's not doing bad. But if you go back and look at Kingsman here, this was a huge hit, like a 36 million opening weekend then, and then it went on to have this domestic total. Like, it was a surprise hit, made 400 million worldwide. This film, on the other hand, while it's not doing bad at all, the mixed reviews are really starting to come out. You really get that people aren't all liking this. That $39 million opening weekend in 4,000 theaters for a hype sequel, I don't think was great. And I said that for weeks, that this film was going to open lower. I go look at my Twitter weeks before this came out, and I was talking about how the marketing was poor. They didn't even advertise the villain. They just threw Colin Firth in there, hoping you'd want to see it, to see him again. Even though he's awkwardly used in the movie. But yeah, it's not. I mean, this film should have already made 100 million. It should have opened over 50 million and already be there. This is a film that should have made 140 to 150 million if it was done well. Now it looks like it's scratching. Like I said, I think it'll just barely cross 100 million. It's got that $104 million budget, huge marketing budget, and they probably spent more than that on this movie, honestly. And it's not at 300 million worldwide yet. Now, will it outgrossed the first Kingsman of 414 million? I don't know. I would have said yes the first weekend, but now I don't know. This might end up at like 350 million a little bit, which wouldn't be bad. That'd be a great total. I mean, if the first film had done that, that'd be successful. But when your second film performs below the first film, that's usually not a good sign for your franchise and its growth. Now, sometimes there's like a Spider-Man 2 effect, but that movie still made a crap load of money. This film, isn't going to make a crap load of money just because it's it's making money, but I feel like the Kingsman 1 probably made more profit. American-made, Tom Cruise, 35% drop, 5.4 million, and that's a $40 million domestic total, and it says it has a $50 million budget. So, I don't know what the marketing is on this film. I read another place that this film had like an $80 million budget, but maybe that wasn't true. I heard it was actually very expensive. I'm shocked they made it for 50 mil. Tom Cruise usually can't make a film unless it costs an outrageous amount of money. Doug Liman's great, man. He's great at directing Cruise. I love Edge of Tomorrow, and it didn't really perform that great. It cost 180 million and only made 100 mil domestic. It wasn't a bomb, really, but it didn't do well. But yeah, 112 million worldwide so far. This really needs to rely on the foreign box office to get that boost. Hopefully it'll go up to like 150 million down here, and this can make somewhere around 200 million, because I don't know if they've made much profit yet. They probably haven't, because that domestic total's pretty mediocre. 40 million, and it's probably not even going to really get to 50 million. This is what happened with Tom Cruise's sequel to Jack Reacher, which didn't really perform that well domestically after the opening weekend. And The Mummy did okay, but it dropped off pretty bad too. But The Mummy did make 400 million worldwide, so it probably did all right for the studio. Outside of the Mission Impossible franchise, Cruise doesn't ever seem to be able to break out domestically. The Mission Impossible films can reach almost 200 million, but the other things he stars in can never even. They can't really get further. They can't really get much past 100 million or like 80 something million. So, that's unfortunate. It's definitely one group of people and a certain audience in America that loves Tom Cruise, and then the rest of the country just doesn't seem to really care, because he stars in a lot of good movies. Edge of Tomorrow should have been a big hit. American Made should be a big hit. It's really good. All of, a lot of the movie, not Rock of Ages, that deserved a bomb, but some of the films he's been in, I think, should have done better. And it's, and it's not because I'm just a huge Tom Cruise fan, which I am, but he also stars in very good movies sometimes that I think should have been successful. The Mountain Between Us, Kate Winslet and Idris Elba, who don't really have any box office draw. $35 million budget, 20 mil domestic, 30 mil worldwide. Not good at all, really. That opening weekend kind of sucked, and this second weekend was not great at all. The drop was 46%. This probably isn't even going to reach its budget. I'd be shocked if it did much better than that. Very, very disappointing with these two actors, but the trailers looked like crap. I think they were hoping that, I guess it was a book and book fans were going to come and see it. Weird movie to make. It. 6 million, 39% drop. Very, very small drop, actually. That's a good drop for this weekend. It is at 630 million worldwide on a $35 million budget. So this film is still performing gangbusters. Let's see. I think, this is the lowest drop. All the other drops were over 40%, and this one's at 39%. So this was a really good weekend for this movie. I think next weekend will be the same, like 4, and then there'll be 3. So this will probably, I think this will get to like 330 million, like Spider-Man Homecoming did. Worldwide, this could reach 700 million, which is insane. This is easily going to be one of the most profitable films of the year. That domestic total is beast mode. Like, there's no film with this has outgrossed Get Out, worldwide total. This has done it domestically. All those films that Annabelle Creation, all those films that did really well, these horror films, this film's outperforming them just domestically, and its budget is only a little bit higher. But then with that worldwide total, man, there's no way they're not making like $300 million off this movie. God, imagine the merchandise, like the shirts they sold of Pennywise and all that. Oh, man. But yeah, just pure box office terms, this has probably got to be the most successful film of the year. Because, like Star Wars, you expect to make money, right? Justice League, you expect to make money. Beauty and the Beast, you expect to make money. Fate of the Furious, it was up in the air. I knew it was going to be a hit, but I would have thought 300 million worldwide was going to be the big point for this, or maybe 400. I don't think anyone thought it was going to be a big blockbuster. I mean, it's outgrossed movies like Logan and other films that cost a lot more than this, even though they're great movies. But this is this to me has got to be the biggest hit of 2017, just because of the budget and how it's performed and how people are liking it and how well it's going to set up a sequel. I mean, there's going to be money made from this movie years from now. It's not going to be done making money now. It's going to continue to make money, which is the mark of a real hit, a movie that just keeps bringing in money. Like Dark Knight, they made money off that movie for years, and they still make money off that movie. They still sell Heath Ledger Joker merch and stuff like that. People still get things from that movie. It's still relevant in the modern day. Christopher Nolan's very good at that, though. He somehow keeps his movies in the pulp culture zeitgeist in a way. I don't know how he does it. The Foreigner, Jackie Chan, and Taken. Don't take my family. I don't want no trouble. Hey, listen, I will find you, and I will kill you, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to hurt anyone, but I will. I will find you. Good luck. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the good luck. I appreciate it. Have a very good day, but I will come and fight and kill you. But I don't want to, but I have to. $35 million budget. Whoa, 101 million worldwide already, man. Jackie Chan bringing in that international box office. Good for him. This is directed by Martin Campbell, who did Casino Royale and Edge of Darkness, Green Lantern recently. Casino Royale, second, maybe third favorite James Bond film. It's one of the great ones. He did the Zorro, The Mask of Zorro, and GoldenEye. He's a pretty good action director. He tries to do these more serious drama films sometimes, and they don't necessarily work. Even though he like flawlessly directed Casino Royale and gave it a very light touch and pathos, so he hasn't really been able to transfer that over. But I haven't seen this film. I thought it looked kind of cool in the trailers. A $12 million opening weekend isn't bad, but it's not great either. This probably isn't going to make a lot of money more than that budget and the marketing costs. Although I'm sure they didn't spend too much on marketing. But who cares? That $88 million foreign's great. They're probably going to make some profit off this. And that's probably what they made it. You got James Bond here, Pierce Brosnan, and Jackie Chan, who I usually always call Pierce Bronson on accident. I call him Bronson all the time, but he's Pierce Brosnan. But Brosnan and Jackie Chan, and am I the only one who thinks older Pierce Brosnan is not only better looking, but more awesome? Like, when he was young, I really didn't think he was that tough or cool as James Bond. And now he's got that gray beard and the gray hair, and he looks more muscular, and he's just kind of awesome. Like, I really like Pierce Brosnan now. Like, I think he's so much cooler. Like, he's more manly now. He's one of those guys I think aged really well. It made him look, like, because he was always a little too youthful looking. He looked like some posh dude from a country club, and that always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm sure it rubbed women the right way. But now he looks like, a tough dude, He's like, yeah. Actually, here's a thing for you guys. Let me throw out a casting choice here. If they ever do a remake or a reboot of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, what about Pierce Brosnan as Quartermain? Why don't we do him instead of Sean Connery? I think that'd be really cool. He could come in and do that role, be the old guy who leads the team. But you stick more loyal to the comic with the Invisible Man and Hyde and all that, obviously. You don't add all that stupid crap. And but he actually be pretty good in that. I could see him, especially with his voice and how he looks now, I would totally buy him as this like world-traveled. Although I guess he's not old enough. He's a little young for that role. But they could make him look older. Give him some makeup. The password. Okay, so The Foreigner did pretty good, all things considered, when you take in the international box office. So, for Jackie Chan coming back to action and doing this again, it's not a bomb. It might end up even making quite a bit of money. I don't know if it's done at The Foreign, but it might end up making like $200 million. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that one. Blade Runner 2049 continues to be a bomb. This is unfortunate. I knew this was going to happen. I don't think anyone thought this movie was going to be a hit. Maybe some people thought. The best chance this has, if it would have opened at like 50 to 60 million, that would have been good. And it would have had to have made, over 150 million, because they have 150 million in the cost, and then they have 130 million in promotion and advertising. So they have over $200 million in this movie. This was an expensive film. Now, the studio has this all split up. Sony put money up. Other people put money up. They shot it in Hungary, so it was cheaper. They got, like, rebates, I think, tax rebates. So they did everything they could to cut corners, but I don't think anyone's going to lose money on this movie, really. Like, no one's going to be upset, because I think it was so split up, but I don't think anyone's going to make any money off this movie except for the people who got paid, like the actors and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford got paid very well. That $32 million opening weekend was not good, but the idea was, well, maybe word of mouth will be great. But as I said last weekend, the drops were so steep from Friday to Saturday that it was kind of obvious that wasn't the case. So the second week drop of 53% it's pretty bad. If the opening weekend had been 60 million, then that drop wouldn't be so bad. But the opening weekend was low. So the movie's at 60 million right now, and I'm not sure if it's going to make 100 million. I would say next weekend we're looking at like 7 million, maybe 6. Then the next weekend after that we're looking at 3. And then with daily box office, yeah, this can't make 100 million. It's crazy if it could. I don't even know if this will make 90 million. So at least domestically, this is a total dud. Like, this not making 100 million domestically is bad. Denis Villeneuve's last film, Arrival, which was a lot cheaper, although they spent a lot of money. It was a $47 million film, and they paid $20 million to buy and then advertising. So they probably didn't make a lot of profit off this domestically, but still it hung in there and made 100 million. It took a long time. It was in release for... Well, let me check. How many days did it take? Wow, yeah, it took a while. It took So yeah, it took about like, I feel like it took like 60 days for this movie to make 100 million, or 50 days. It took a long time, but it made 100 million domestic. So you would have thought, well, at least this will probably do that. Like I would have thought Blade Runner was going to do Mad Max Fury Road numbers where it makes like 140, 150 domestic and like 350 worldwide. Or I would have thought, oh, it'll probably make like 115, 120 million. It's not even going to make. I mean, Arrival's doing better right now. Arrival made 200 mil worldwide. Like I said, they spent a lot on Arrival outside of just the budget. Arrival, that because the movie was like made almost like an independent film. It's very weird. But yeah, his movie Sicario I thought was going to open to 20 million and do better. It really didn't. It opened to 12 and just did okay worldwide on a pretty moderate budget. Then Prisoners I thought was going to be a big hit. I thought when I first saw it in the 20 million opening weekend, I thought, man, this one's going to easily make 100 million. It's going to really be big with audiences. And I remember the second weekend, I think it didn't hold well, and it was like, why is Prisoners dropping? And that film didn't make 100 million. So it's almost like Denis Villeneuve's almost cold and detached style doesn't really hit with audiences in the same way David Fincher's stuff does, like with Girl with the Dragon Tattoo or Seven or The Social Network or Gone Girl, which were all really big hits. Where Denis Villeneuve doesn't seem to be able to get a big hit from. Even though I don't really get it, I think his films play for audiences. This one makes sense because this is an art house blockbuster, and if Christopher Nolan's name isn't on a movie, or Ridley Scott direct, like if it's not The Martian with Matt Damon or something. I mean, God, Alien Covenant had a better opening weekend than this, and this just proves, like Alien Covenant, how that franchise has lost a lot of power and people caring about it. This franchise has lost a lot of. I mean, well, not that it ever had it, but like. I think sci-fi films like this just aren't what people want to go see right now. They need some kind of like Gravity gimmick or Interstellar, Christopher Nolan, but it needs to like have this is a bomb. That's simply what it is. It's a bomb. Is it just me, or has the Final Fantasy series been taking itself too seriously, trying very hard to be realistic the last 2 decades? Yeah, and it's also sucked for like a decade. So yeah. Didn't the League movie cause Sean Connery to quit acting? Oh, yeah, Peter Capaldi, yeah. Yeah, it's Capaldi. Alright, Happy Death Day. 26 million opening weekend. This film did great. Talk about a marketing campaign that completely hit with audiences. $4.8 million budget. Christopher B. Landon. Let's see. He did Scott's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse and Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones, which is like the worst performing Paranormal Activity film domestically, but it still made money because it cost $5 million. So this is a Blumhouse film, and they did Split, Get Out, a lot of hits this year, Annabelle Creation, that were all big hits. So I would have thought this film was going to open in the teens or around 20 million. I would have never thought close to 30 million. I thought the trailers were good, even though it's just Groundhog Day. I do need to put a sign up, like Jesus Christ. But the I know I sound a little mean when I just get grumpy. I don't mean to yell at people like that. I just get grumpy sometimes. So 26,500,000 is great in 3,100 theaters. Low budget of like 5 million, even with the marketing. I think this is going to do well. It may not make 100 million, but it's like, hey, Groundhog Day meets a horror, like a slasher flick. John Hughes Groundhog Day slasher. But this film actually got pretty good reviews. It got 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't bad. And it's actually performing better than a lot of horror films do. It came out this year. Really, no, I would say that's a great opening weekend. They did a great job with this. Once again, Blumhouse is great at marketing, at releasing the film, handling it. Their brand is strong. They can produce bigger budget films now. I think if M. Night Shyamalan he's going to do Glass there, he does need to get like a big budget, like 50, 60 million, so he can actually make it like more of a set piece film, because it's going to have more going on with Sam Jackson, Bruce Willis, and James McAvoy. But just this year alone, look, Get Out, Split, both Blumhouse. Where's Annabelle? Where the heck? Oh, I guess Annabelle wasn't them. Oh, I thought Annabelle was them too. That's weird. But still, all these films are doing really well. Insidious did well. The Purge. These all had low budgets. They did The Gift. But Get Out and Split are like 2 of the biggest, most hits of the year by far. And now they have Happy Death Day. So, You know, what can you say about Blumhouse? They're killing it. They're like Illumination. They're like a brand that almost is always guaranteed to do well, and the profits just have to be insane. And if you're a filmmaker working there, apparently you get a lot of freedom. So that's really awesome. Um, Dustin Hoffman. Final Fantasy 12 is kind of underrated, but suffered due to the studio interference. Oh, I guess. Uh, PG-13 horror movie. Oh, probably because it's more of a comedy film that she dies in these ridiculous ways and keeps coming back. Girlfriend comes in wanting sex. No, that's not true. She doesn't do that. She has come down and yelled at me before though, because I record I record down here for the audio for the acoustics, and then I have my like a little recording set up down here. I have like my computer and all my stuff set up down here and my mic, and then it was like, hey, come on, you need you for something. I need you to open this jar. Pat, is the box office returns before or after the 50% movie theater cut? It's pretty much like the theater and the studio get their money at the same time. The studio can make a lot of money on opening weekend. I think they get the majority on they get like 70-80% on the first weekend domestically. But as it breaks down weekend by weekend, then it's like 50%, then it's like 25%. And the theaters start making more money. At the international box office, it's different to where you go. But typically, it depends. But usually the studio tries to make a lot of their money up front on opening weekends in the first week or so. And then if a film continues to make money, that's kind of profitable for everyone, theater chains and the studio and everyone involved. And usually the actors, too, get a lot of back end. If the studio makes money, then they get their money. So it's things like that. It's a lot of it's accounting, Hollywood accounting, and the numbers are split up, and it's very complicated from movie to movie. But typically, the box office returns come at the end of the year. You can find out the studio's profits. They release their books basically. They don't show you their books in and out, but it comes out publicly, kind of what they made at the end of the year, and the quarters come out, and you see what the profits were, and you find out how much the studio actually was able to make off that. So that's typically where we're at. Happy Death Day sounds like a plot of an Adam Wingard movie. Yeah, it does sound like Adam Wingard would have done that. It does sound like he would have done Groundhog Day meets a slasher flick. You're not wrong about that. It's actually true. Alright, let's look at some other movies before we're done with this. Okay, Leap is that foreign animated film that cost 105... I don't know how much it cost. It made 105 million worldwide. Let's see what the international box office is for Hitman's Bodyguard. 176 million worldwide on a $30 million budget. That's pretty great. They spent money to market it, but still, like, there's no way they haven't made a profit. So that worldwide's great. So you can make a low budget comedy with 2 stars and still have it perform pretty well worldwide. So that's great. The Big Sick. Let's see if that's brought in anymore. Nope, 52 million. They put a lot of money into that movie. Big marketing campaign. The Stray. That's not doing great. Jeez Louise. Let's go back to another weekend and see. Let's go up here. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find some of the other movies. Dunkirk. Let's see what Dunkirk's at. 522 million worldwide. Made 187 mil domestic. I think this is probably where it's going to end up, its final total around here. But like I said, weeks and weeks, this is a great performance for a blockbuster war film that's also very artsy and just relying on the name of Christopher Nolan pretty much. Spider-Man Homecoming. 879 million worldwide. This feels like where it's wrapping up. I think 880 million is a great total. It's many times over its budget, and even with the big marketing push of over $100 million spent, this is the most successful superhero film of the year and the most successful debut superhero film of all time worldwide. Wonder Woman is domestically when not adjusted for ticket price inflation. Annabelle Creation, 301 million worldwide on a $15 million budget. That is huge profits, and that's killing it. Great numbers there. Wonder Woman, 821 million worldwide. That's pretty much where it feels like it's going to end up. That's what the first Spider-Man did back in 2002. War for the Planet of the Apes, 487 million worldwide. It's still trying to get to that 500 million. I think they've probably broke even on this film now, but it had to rely pretty much entirely on the Chinese box office and all that to really get that last boost. But if it could reach $500 million, that's not bad. And I think this has now surpassed the first film in the franchise worldwide, but domestically it's below the first and second film, and it has a pretty steep budget of 150 million. So yeah, Baby Driver, 226 million worldwide. That film's pretty much over. It had its run. Atomic Blonde, 95 million. Doesn't look like it's going to make 100 million like I thought it would. That's actually really surprising. And I'm not saying. Let's check if Pirates actually ever reached 800 million. No, it did not. I guess it won't. That would have really helped Pirates just to have that, like, hey, the whole trend of trashing Rotten Tomatoes and blame. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's getting so, like, ridiculous. I also think it's a shitty idea to change the gender of the Doctor. Oh, yeah, Lexi Bell is a redhead. What, right? At least it's established that the Doctor... Oh, you guys are talking about Doctor Who. Okay, I didn't understand. I was like, what are you guys talking about? What Doctor? Oh, the 1982 Poltergeist would have been PG-13. I guess that's a fair point. Blade Runner 2049... I agree. They should have spent like 90 million on 2049, not 100... Like, not 200 something million dollars, which was absolutely ridiculous. To quote Angry Video Game Nerd, what were they thinking? As he always said, what were they thinking? Alright, let's check the final worldwide gross here. Wolf Warrior 2, 870 million worldwide. That's great. Let's see. Logan did great. Transformers made 600 million, but that's not good for a Transformers film. That domestic total's terrible. Very expensive movie, and that franchise has had 2 films in a row done over $1 billion, so they're not going to be happy with that. The studio expects a lot more from that international box office. Finally, people are catching on to not go see those damn Transformers movies. 50 Shades Darker made 381 million. Your Name is one of the most successful films of the year. It did most of that in Japan. 355 million worldwide. It's an anime movie. Alien Covenant might end up doing better than Blade Runner 2049 did. That's what... look how Alien Covenant cost 97 million. That's what Blade Runner 2049 should have cost. I don't know what they were thinking with that, like, let's spend Star Wars money on this thing. Like, what? Baywatch, 177 million worldwide. The international box office is good, 120, but pretty terrible domestic total. Did not do well domestically with the actors involved. Got bad reviews. Oh, yeah, remember that Power Rangers movie came out? It actually had a decent opening weekend of 40 million and then dropped like a rock. That's a film that I think could have been a hit if it had been good and they had handled it right. I think Power Rangers could have been a hit franchise. So that's one I think they totally screwed up. There was a hit movie in a reboot of Power Rangers. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's the Some Like It Hot remake. And then Rough Night bombed. All Eyes on Me was pretty much a failure after its opening weekend. Trainspotting 2 didn't do anything that great. Diary of a Wimpy Kid 4, one of my favorite franchises, made this terrible new movie where they recast the actors. How dare they? They ruined the franchise. That new Roderick. Crap. Alright, let's see. Wind River. Oh yeah, that's doing really well. The Taylor Sheridan film. 33 mil domestic, $11 million budget. Mother did bad. American Satan? What the hell is that movie? I gotta look up that film. Denise Richards is in it. Hell yeah. I love the title. I'm already in that, American Satan. Let's get on board with that crap. Victoria and Abdul, 3 million this weekend. It's at 40 million. That might end up being a success worldwide. Stephen Frears movies and Judi Dench actually bring in pretty good box office in Europe, it seems like. I'm assuming mostly the UK, I'm guessing, is where a lot of the money comes. But Judi Dench is an international star, though. She's famous all over the place. Man, really impressed with Happy Death Day, though. They did a great job on that. Brad Status, that's right. Yeah, this is that Ben Stiller, Mike White film. Mike White, he's been around a while. He had a show on HBO, and he was in that film Chuck and Buck. I think he wrote the screenplay to it. Which is a really weird movie if you ever get to see it, Chuck and Buck. I'd highly recommend it, but it's kind of like, it's like disturbing in a weird way, but it's pretty cool little movie. Yeah, if you see here, Annabelle Creation outperformed Annabelle. Bad Moms, Girls Trip outperformed Bad Moms, which shocked me. I didn't think Girls Trip would do better than Bad Moms did, but it did. It made 136 worldwide, 115 mil domestic. Like I said, I definitely think a sequel's happening to this movie. 100%, I would say at this point. Oh yeah, Goodbye Christopher Robin opened in limited release this weekend. It's getting pretty mixed positive reviews, which is upsetting. So I really like Domino Gleeson, and I like the look of the movie. It was in 9 theaters and did 55,000. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's probably not that great, actually. It doesn't seem that great. But I gotta stop doing that sound effect. I sound like I'm doing the $6 million man. Da 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 da. It's like Caddyshack, Chevy Chase. Human Flow. What the hell is that movie? 2 hours and oh, it's a documentary. It's like, oh my god. 2 hours and 21 minutes. Jesus Christ. I like me a documentary, but God. That's an epic. From a series about underground car races to anti-terrorist super fighting force. Oh man, the Fast and the Furious crew have turned into the Avengers. It's amazing. They have their own Hulk and The Rock. It's great. Alright, well, I'm gonna try to end this here, so I'll see you guys later. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next weekend. And you box office addicts out there, keep doing what you're doing. And I love you. Always have. Like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your opinion in the comment section. How do you feel about the performances of Happy Death Day and the other movies this weekend? And guess the opening weekends for next week or the weekend drops, and we'll see if you're right or wrong. Sometimes it's fun. Play the game with us. Spin the lottery ticket.